Let's start off with a look at Mauritius Commercial Bank because, of course, that move higher not unwarranted, where we had a deal being struck between MUA and Mauritius Commercial Bank out of court, and 7 to 8 years later to the benefit of MCB.
That's right. You will probably recall a few years ago there was a massive fraud in MCB whereby they started to sue the insurance company being Mauritius Union a couple of years back. And 8 years down the line, it seems that these two parties have come to an agreement, an out-of-court settlement rather, that MUA the board of MUA decided to pay off 250 million rupees to MCB in two different ways. The first one being 150 million rupees in cash, and the other part being 100 million rupees in terms of redeemable preference shares. And that, of course, was announced last week and had a positive impact on the share price of MCB, which went up from 170 to 177.
Of course, this having a positive impact on Mauritius Commercial Bank. What's your overall view, though, on the company fundamentally? Because not so long ago, we had the bank enhancing staff salaries for one, and saying that that was a move in order to ensure sustainable growth moving forward, in that you're looking towards a more content staff complement.
We must highlight the fact that MCB, when the fraud had occurred in 2003 or so, in the same year they had written off the whole amount of the fraud, which was some slightly less than 900 million rupees, some like $30 million. They had written off. So this definitely will, this one-off amount will definitely enhance their accounts this year. But stripping off this exceptional item, MCB still remains very, very strong in terms of its balance sheet, and they probably expect earnings to go up to the 4 billion rupees mark this year as well, excluding the exceptionals. And at these levels, MCB still remains technically cheap in terms of price-earnings ratio at about 11 or 12. And given the market conditions and the foreign activity in Mauritius, we still believe that MCB remains very well positioned going forward.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to the hotel space. We had new Mauritius hotels also moving higher yesterday. We've seen that company announce that it's entering into a joint venture partnership over in Morocco, 50% stake in a Marrakesh project that it's delving into there. What have you made of that move and finalization that's come to the fore on that front?
A few years ago, NMH went into developing regionally, and they got into partnership with a local in Morocco in terms of 50% in the property and 95% in the hotels, namely Fulton International Limited. However, down the line, the problem seems to be between these two companies, and NMH decided after a couple of years of the project being halted due to problems within these two parties, NMH have purchased the local partner back to be able to proceed with the project. However, this purchase doesn't go without saying that NMH already have some quite high debts, and they're going to have to increase their borrowings, which is going to impact negatively on the P&L.
Mm-hmm. In terms of growth, though, I mean, this is a resort company that, of course, has 8 hotels in Mauritius. It's got 1 in the Seychelles and now opening up that avenue to Morocco. What are you making of its regional strategy?
We need to probably highlight the fact that Morocco is still very at its early stages. They started 2 years back, but they've ever since the beginning had problems with their local partner. So the project came to a standstill. And for NMH to be able to be a regional player, really, we need to see this project really kickstart from now on. But when you look at the sales of the villas, which has been very much dented with the crisis internationally, and more recently with the social unrest in the Middle East, we probably somehow feel that NMH has got very challenging times ahead in Morocco going forward.
What about,
however, locally, that we need to highlight that NMS still remains very strong in terms of its local presence in Mauritius.
Let's take a look at Gamma within the construction space. It's now joined on with an international partner with their activities, looking at that company growing its roots even further. What have you made of that move and market reaction to that announcement, Vikash?
Gamma has come a long way. They've developed themselves in the last 5 years. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the price has gone up by 4-fold increase. The first one being they had got a project for the waste materials. On the second hand, they just recently, 2 years back, got a low-to-tech representation in Mauritius. And now, just last week, they came up with a cautionary announcement mentioning that they're entering into a strategic alliance with an overseas company in their building and construction materials activities. This seems to have been very much been accepted by the market in terms of its price share, which has gone up by some 10 or 15% in the last month or so, and I think it's one of the best performing stocks since the past couple of years. Knowing that it's probably very strong in the construction sector in Mauritius.